Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Well, today we're going to be discussing Tesla. You know, it's been in the news, and I know I'm a little late to the game, but not really, you know, because I've been talking about this for a year now. And if you go back to some of my old videos, and we'll kind of get a little bit into that. But, you know, I hear a lot of people really criticizing the company as far as their decision making, questioning the CEO, you know, even, you know, saying, you know, making some outlandish claims that aren't substantiated by any facts. And so there's a lot of stuff that we do not know. And so I'm going to trust that they created this multi-billion dollar corporation and they know what they're doing. So I'm going to lean on that fact just based on their past performance is the best predictor of future performance. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and with the assumption that they know exactly what they're doing. They have way more information than any of us. And so I'm not going to sit here and make a judgment as far as whether or not I think it was a poor decision. Yeah, you can question how it was done, but then again, you don't have all the information, and neither do I. And so you're just left with speculation. And I don't really care for speculation unless I can prove some stuff, you know, with some type of facts or something. And also I can make a strong case as to why they will want to scale back on those superchargers. It may not be a good deal. We really don't know the financials of it. We don't know how profitable it is. And I know in the past, they were able to really supplement the superchargers by charging higher premiums on their vehicles. But with all the competition in the market space, they don't really have that luxury. And so they have to really bring a lot of prices down, and that's going to impact their ability to install these superchargers. You know, so, I mean, they have a whole company they have to worry about. And not only that, their sales have been down also. And so if you have fewer Teslas on the road, there's fewer people that's going to be using your network. I mean, just since 2023, Tesla lost 10% market share. And that's a pretty big chunk of market share. And with all these other manufacturers getting in the game, it's gonna erode pretty quickly. And so I'm pretty sure they're looking at all the data and they're making projections and saying, hey, we need to scale back someplace. And one of the places is superchargers. I mean, just since first quarter of 2023 until first quarter 2024, their sales are down 13%. And so they're looking at this information. So there's fewer Teslas on the road. There's fewer Teslas that's using a supercharger. And yes, you're opening these networks up to these other players, but you open it up to players that are not really significant in the EV space. Rivian. You know, Rivian doesn't really have that many vehicles on the road. I know they produce 100,000 vehicles, but we don't even know the vehicle mix for Rivian. They mix in the R1T, R1S with the electric delivery van. So we really don't know what the breakdown is, how many of these vehicles are really on the road. And then what's the ratio of people who are electric vehicle owners to the ratio of people that actually use the public charging infrastructure? I know it's rare for me. The only time I ever do it is on road trips, obviously. I have no need to go to a charger on a day-to-day basis because I charge from home, which the majority of the people do. And there's other things that are happening too with these in the charging space. You know, GM is installing a bunch of chargers in partnership with EVgo and Pilot Travel Centers LLC. And you have Mercedes-Benz put in their own charging. You have Iona. So you have a lot of people getting into this space. And plus you have all this NEVI funding that's out there. It's $7.5 billion to install all these chargers along all of these alternative fuel corridors every 50 miles, and you know, states are awarding money out. Yes, Tesla did get a pretty large chunk. I think they got 16% of the NEVI funding, although I question their, you know, whether they should get any funding or not. That's for another video. But the fact is that Tesla qualified for 16% of that funding. So that's quite a bit of money. So there's a lot of things going on right now. And the charging industry can be very dangerous as far as whether or not it's going to be profitable into the future. And I brought up EVgo and Pilot and all these other companies getting into the game. Also, Walmart, Target. Walmart announced they're going to be installing chargers at all the Walmarts and market stores and Sam's Clubs, that could be a lot of chargers added. And that makes sense. You're going to see more and more of these companies that want to get customers in there as long as possible installing charging stations. Also, gas stations are going to do the same thing, because people who charge their vehicles have longer dwell times, which means they're at the gas station or at that spot a lot longer, which means more likely going to end up spending a lot more money than someone just, you know, spending 5 minutes to fill up with gas. So it's basically what I'm saying is there is a lot of uncertainty in the charging space, because this is not like going to the gas station. So unlike internal combustion engine vehicles, you know, for every one produced, one vehicle is going to have to go to the gas station. But that is not true for electric vehicles, especially when you're looking at numbers of, like, you know, maybe 70-80% of people may be able to charge at home or at work, or maybe get most of their charging done using destination chargers. Level 2 chargers maybe at grocery stores or roadside charging. So what is the profit potential of these big superchargers? Will the usage go down as more people enter to the EV space? I think it will. It's not, and one thing that I don't think has been figured out, what is the proportion of electric vehicles that will have to be in the market to justify the building of a charging station? No one really knows. And also, there's been more uncertainty as far as whether or not some of these manufacturers are going to stick with the J3400 or NACS, or they're going to stick with the CCS standard. And I made a series of videos a year ago. One is called CCS is Not Dead, where I break down as to why I thought it was a little interesting as far as the timing of all of this stuff. And I'm just gonna throw some dates out. Let me know what you think in the comments. And also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe if you like this. And this is not for, you know, the type of things I'm talking about requires critical thinking. I do my research. I don't just get out here and spout stuff off. I actually read a lot of stuff. I delve into the Code of Federal Regulations, and I read the little small details. And I kind of look at the big picture. I look at the macro. And when I saw these deals going down, it had me scratching my head like, this is pretty weird. Why are they making these deals right now? No, I already knew why they were making those deals. And I'm just going to throw some dates out, and you can draw whatever conclusions that you want to draw. But in around September 2022, that's when everyone came together and they decided that CCS was going to be the standard. And that was one of the requirements for the NEVI funding. The NEVI rules went into place, I think March 30th of 2023. This is all off the top of my head. But yeah, I read through them in the Code of Federal Regulations. If you want to see them, they're in 23 CFR subsection 680. But it breaks everything down right there. Who should qualify, who shouldn't qualify, what the requirements are. And I know one of the big requirements is that every station had to have at least a CCS connector, but they can also have another connector, which that's where the NACS came into play, or the J3400. So you can have either one, as long as it has a permanent CCS connector attached to it. So that happened at the end of March. So March 30th, 2023 is when the rules became final rules in the Federal Register. And then shortly after, in April, I believe April 27th, the EPA proposed the most stringent emission rules ever in the history of emissions. But in these EPA rules, they give manufacturers the option to come up with whatever technology, emission reductions, new and improved gasoline engines, whatever they have to come up with in order to meet these very strict emission standards. And basically, the easiest route for manufacturers is probably to produce plug-in vehicles. So that is it. But there's no electric vehicle mandate. And this is all in 40 CFR. And this might be in subsection 1600. I can't remember. I did get hit in my head. You see this mark right here? I got hit in the head with a shepherd's hook. So my memory is not as powerful as it normally is. But yeah, I read through some of that. It's like 300 pages in the Federal Register. And I got better things to do with my time to read through 300 pages of emission rules. But there was a lot of interesting things in there. And like I said, these dates, okay, let me go back before I can get long-winded, but let me go back. So the dates are September 2022 is when the NEVI funding proposed rules went into place. And then there's a question and comment period where, members of the public or, whoever, companies can comment on the rules, and sometimes they'll tweak the rules and change them based on the comments. And then the rules go final. And the NEVI funding rules went final March 30th, I believe, of 2023. And then what happened after that? Then the EPA, I believe April 27th, they came out with those rules. And then right after that, I think May 5th is when Ford announced that they were going to partner with Tesla for NACS. So, and then 2 weeks later, GM did the same thing. Okay, now let me give you a little background on why I thought this was all a little interesting. Because those EPA rules, they really have an impact on light and heavy duty trucks. And what does GM and Ford produce the most of? And like I said, I made a video series on this and I broke everything down. I went through everything that GM was doing. I called GM a fake EV maker. And I questioned the validity or whether or not they were actually going to stick to the Tesla standard or NACS or J3400. And I provide a bunch of evidence. So you can go ahead and check that video out. But I just find it a bit interesting that this is going to negatively impact Ford, GM, and Stellantis the most, because if you look at the vehicle sales, as far as who sells the most vehicles in the United States anyway, it's Ford. They have the #1 selling vehicle in the F-Series. That is the #1 selling vehicle in America. And then GM is the next biggest seller of trucks. They're #2. So, and then they also have 2 vehicles in the top 10. So the Silverado is #2, and also the Chevy Sierra is like #8. So they have 2 vehicles in the top 10, and the top 3 vehicles are all trucks. So just keep that in mind. So just think about the impact this will have on those companies that produce these big trucks and SUVs, and that's where they make all their money. Just imagine how it's going to negatively impact them. Because it's pretty easy to make. It's easier to produce a profitable car that's electric. And I'm in a truck right now. I'm in a Rivian R1T right now, and you look, and Rivian is losing quite a bit of money for every truck that they produce. And so it is not profitable. And even if they do get to the point where they can make a profit off of it, it's not as profitable as their internal combustion engine are. So they will lose a lot of money. They're going to be negatively impacted, more so than another company like Hyundai Group with Kia. So you're going to have more of a negative impact. And I think, if you really look at it and say it's kind of unfair, because they do produce all these big trucks and SUVs. They don't even really make cars. And that's another thing I was always wondered, why people compare Tesla to GM and Ford. It was like, has anyone looked at their product lineup? They may have like maybe 4 cars between them. The big 3, they really don't even make cars, because the trucks are more profitable. And so why would they be in competition with Tesla? I would submit that they are not in competition with Tesla. In fact, they were okay with Tesla existing because they were just able to buy these carbon credits from Tesla. So they can still produce these big trucks and SUVs, and then they can buy these carbon credits from Tesla. Now Tesla is being profitable because now they have this extra source of revenue they can continue to use to build cars and build out their charging network. But now you have all these vehicles in the same space. Everyone's producing electric vehicles. That's more competition for Tesla, and that's less carbon credits they can sell to these other companies. And for the big three, that's less profit they'll be able to make off their big trucks and SUVs. And so, like I said, it seemed very interesting that right after these proposed rules went through, that they was like, we need to make a deal. And I always thought that this was the Osborne Effect, that they were trying to Osborne Effect their own vehicles. And you'll say, why would they do that? And I already explained it. They stand to lose a lot of profit if they're being really forced to make electric vehicles. And so an effective way to do that is that try to slow this down, because right now the technology is not there to make a profitable electric vehicle en masse. Yes, you can make an expensive, exclusive truck like this Rivian R1T I'm in right here, but just as you see that that Bighorn Ram right there, and these were for, you know, the average worker, you know, people who want to spend, you know, $100,000 on a vehicle. And so can Rivian make a profit off of these trucks? Yeah, these are like specialty vehicles. Yes, they can make a profit off of these. But can Ford and GM and Stellantis make a profit off of theirs? I would say probably not. No, I would say no. Maybe with a Cadillac Escalade, but they don't make a truck. But it would have to be something high end where someone was willing to already spend a lot of money on a vehicle. Otherwise, it's not going to be profitable for them. And so if it were me, I would try to slow it down. And one of the ways I would do that is by putting some confusion in the market space as far as, hey, we're gonna switch up. And we're gonna do this in 2025. And so anyone who was thinking about getting one of these vehicles is like, well, I just wait until 2025 to get my vehicle. And this put a lot of pressure on the administration. It was a smart move, and a lot of people's like, oh, these car companies are dumb. No, they are not. These are highly intelligent people, and they're playing chess. And if you look at the information, all the data, you'll understand why they're making these certain moves. And it makes total sense to me why they would do it. And so they use this, in my opinion, to gain a lot of leverage with the administration, which they were successful, actually. They were successful in doing it. And they were able to get the EPA to relax on these rules. And it was supposed to go into effect in 2027, and, you know, and they were able to get them relaxed for a few years and then buy them some more time. And that's all they were trying to do, was buy some time. Some of the other things that were going on as well is that they really reduced the amount of vehicles that they were electric vehicles they were producing. Ford cut their F-150 production in half. And I'm sure they had good reason to, you know, other reasons too, but I'm just saying they cut it in half. And we still don't know about the production of the Chevy Silverado, you know. Will those be unicorns? Hard to find. I'm willing to guess that it's going to be very difficult to find a Chevy Silverado EV. That's just my prediction. And so what does it have to do with the NACS? Like I said, they did these deals, in my opinion, to slow everything down, which they were effective and successful in doing. And I predicted in my past videos that they would be successful in slowing all of this stuff down. Now, do I think they're going to stick with the North American charger standard? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think they will. And if they're smart, they will delay and create more confusion to try to push this as far out into the future as possible, because they stand to lose a lot of profit, unfortunately, with the transition over to electric vehicles. They don't want to do it. So just look at those dates. Just think about the dates I mentioned, and, you know, just let me know what you think. If you think it's a little bit odd that the proximity of the decisions, especially considering the companies that made those decisions, is really not in their best interest. So we'll just have to see what happens. Again, these are just my predictions. I think the first company to pull out is going to be Hyundai Group, because they're actually trying to they can be competitive in the electric space, and probably the only real true threat to Tesla. No, it's not going to be GM or Ford, or they're going to keep making the big trucks and SUVs. But Tesla can still be highly successful in this space. So, but just let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this. Again, just think about the dates, and please, I actually present some facts. I presented some actual real data, not just me guessing or speculation. This is based on things I actually read, and just looking at the overall big picture, and just doing a competitive analysis of the companies and things like that. I don't get into the politics of it, or I'm not even on X or Twitter, so I know a lot of people like, hey, don't like Elon Musk. Like I said, I'm not on X or Twitter, so I don't get into that. I am a disinterested party when it comes to that, and I am looking at their organizational strategies only, what is in their best interest. But I want to know what you think, and let me know if you think I'm off my gourd, and I'll be happy to make a part 2. And please go back and watch those old videos. I made a lot of predictions in those videos, most of which have already come true. And so, but that's all I have for today. I'd like to thank you for joining me once again, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.